Good morning, guys. Welcome to the vlog. Please don't judge my face too harshly. I tried witch hazel as a toner and my skin just went insane. It did not like witch hazel as a toner. I guess a couple of my friends were saying that it's like really drying, so it tells your skin to produce more oil, so maybe that wasn't right, even though everything that I looked up and Googled and all the recommendations that I got said try that. So my skin did not react well, and I just got back from work, so I went to the gym. My hair's all nasty. But you know what? The title of this video is about not judging people, so I thought, why not just go ahead and do it anyways, and this will make it either harder for the haters to not hate or give them something to hate on. But anyways, right now I'm sitting here and I'm writing out the addiction story because we've only got a little bit over a week till it comes out and it's starting to freak me out. But anyways, not the point. So this is just going to be a really quick, just talking vlog. It's something that I've been thinking about for quite a while. And I'm going to Google something that kind of goes along with it really quick. So it's just my usual rambling, you know. So today I want to talk about a couple different forms of judging a person. Because for a long time I thought judging a person was just kind of more one-dimensional, just kind of where you're like, oh, gross, I don't want to sit by that person because they look dirty, or I don't want to, you know, all these different things, or that teenage pregnant mom, I wonder, blah, 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 and your mind just goes off and you're saying all these mean, awful things, and sometimes you're doing it on purpose, sometimes you're not, sometimes you're saying it out loud and you're saying awful, terrible things to people. Yeah, and so that's kind of what I thought that judgment was, that it was just obviously being mean and you knew that you were doing it. How could you not recognize that you were judging people, or whatever. You know, somebody gets married quick and you're like, oh, maybe they're pregnant, and even if they are pregnant, it's none of your business, you know. But after a while I started realizing that judging somebody is a lot bigger than I thought that it was, and sometimes we can do it without even knowing that we're judging somebody. So the first type of judgment that I was just talking about is that kind where you are harsh and you are mean and you know it and you don't care. You know, you think that you're being blunt, or you recognize it as whatever else. And this is something that I want to talk about because I think it's something that everyone could work on. Some people are better at this form of judgment than others. But I was watching a vlogger recently, and she was talking about how her friends and family always tell her to let like the haters and people on Instagram and YouTube let their comments just roll off your back. And she said most of the time that's easy, but every once in a while it's not. She said, think about it this way. If you're out in public and every single day a random person, you don't know this person, comes up to you and just says, you're ugly, and walks away. At first you'd be like, okay, like, whatever, that's random, I don't know you, I don't care, like, you don't know them, you're never gonna see them again, they just walk up to you and say it and leave. But every once, you know, if it came to it was every single day, and somebody saying, you're ugly, you have terrible skin, you should get your nose fixed, you should lose some weight, you're a slut, or you are a failure at being a mom, or somebody comes up to you and tells you that you should kill yourself, or that they hope that your children should die. And that happens, like that happens a lot, especially on YouTube. I've seen terrible comments, not just to us, but to others. And everyone, you know, after a while of getting those every single day, you do start to doubt yourself, and it does start to get to you, even though you might not want it to. And the thing is, like, what I've been seeing recently is a whole bunch of suicides. I think that it's always been prevalent, but now it's just more obvious, or people are talking about it more, is suicide. And I've been noticing that it's people where their parents will come out and say, this is the last person that you'd ever suspect to commit suicide, or they were so happy and blah, 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 blah. Here's the thing. We don't know what other people are going through in their lives. You don't know what they're struggling with. You don't know what has gone on with them in that day. So judging them and adding to that, saying things like that, is not nice, and it does not help. Now, of course, nothing that I'm going to say is really going to stop those people who are doing it, and I honestly feel bad for them, because if they're going out of their way saying that someone's child should die or that someone should kill themselves, they are obviously struggling so much within themselves, or they're having something, I don't know, so there's something really deep in their life that they're struggling with if they feel the need to say stuff like that that's really hurtful to others. But that's just one form of judgment, and it's something to kind of think about. Like when you're saying something, you may think that it's being blunt or you're just being blah, blah, blah. Well, there's a difference between being blunt and being truthful and saying it in a respectful way than just being rude and hurtful. And you should never say something to just be rude and hurtful. It doesn't help you grow as a person, and it doesn't help them. But that's the first form of judgment that I thought was it. Now, the second form of judgment, I think, is a little... let me just give you an example to start with. So, a couple years back, I went to a support group. It was for addicted spouses or family members or friends. I went to this group, and it was just a mixture of, like, drugs, alcohol, sex, pornography, gambling, you know, like, just whatever. It was a huge group. And we all went around, and everyone said, like, what's their name, what emotion you were feeling, and what your spouse or family member, their addiction is that they're struggling with. One of the women in the group said that her husband was a sex addict. And right away my mind was like, oh my gosh, like, I can't imagine how you feel. That must be the worst addiction. And right away in my mind, like, without even thinking about it, my mind was just like, oh, this is what a sex addict probably is. This is what it's probably like. Like, even without thinking. And once I realized it, I was like, oh my gosh, shut that down. Like, that's not a nice thought to think, you know, like, but I didn't notice that I was doing it. Like, my mind was just making these assumptions or conclusions on its own. And I think that's completely natural as humans. Again, I went to my support group here. It was more specific to each addiction. They had one specifically for drug addiction and alcohol addiction, and like, it was very specific. So I went to mine for my specific group. But of course, everyone's spouse or family member is on a different level. And I remember the first time I went in just thinking, oh my gosh, like, that's terrible, but you probably knew that. Like, you probably knew that your husband was doing that, or that, you know, you probably settled when you got married, or blah, 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 blah. And I remember thinking, like, oh my gosh, wow, like, thank goodness my husband's not that bad, you know? All these things that I was thinking. And again, like, without even doing it on purpose, because I cared for these women, I love these women, I don't want to think that, but I think that's such a natural human thing to do. And I don't always think that that's a bad thing. Like, your mind is forming these conclusions, it's connecting the dots, it's stimulating conversation and thoughts in your mind, and I think that's a good thing. But I think if we act on that, if we treat people differently because of those judgments, if we let our mind just go crazy and we don't stop that or kind of analyze that, then that's not good. And I've noticed, like, since I've been trying to recognize that more often, it's easier for me to say, you know what, I don't know the specifics of their situation. Everyone's situation is different, and that's okay, you know? And it's been a lot better for me to really, like, sit down and think, oh my gosh, like, I didn't realize how much that I was judging in that way without even noticing. And I didn't think that that was a mean thing because I felt bad for them, but that is judgment. And if I was to say those things out loud, those would still really hurt those people's feelings because I was giving them pity, or I was feeling bad for them, or I was, you know, forming conclusions that I knew nothing about. And so trying to be more conscious that I'm doing that has helped me a lot. So the next form of judgment is, once I found out more information about my husband's addiction, it put me up there. So it put me on the other side where I was now, oh, his addiction is worse than most of the people in the group, and I had no idea, you know? So it put me on the other side. And then I got to go to these groups, and there's a couple new ladies that came in, and they were talking, and the things that they were saying, my brain just instantly thought, oh, just you wait. Or, well, lucky you, it's not that bad. Or somebody would be hurt by something, and I'd think, well, yeah, that's really awful, and that's really bad, but at least it's not this. And again, right away, like, I think because I started trying to analyze the fact that I was judging from that other side, I was able to see this much quicker, but my brain was still doing it. And instantly I was like, no, you have to shut that down. That is not fair. That's not okay. Because, and I think it was more so just myself. Like, I was just thinking, oh, I used to be naive. I used to say and think those things, and look at where I'm at now. So it's more of like a personal thing, something that I was struggling with personally, and I was putting it onto somebody else's situation. And that's not okay. And once I realized that, I was like, what am I doing? Addiction is hard no matter what level you're at, no matter what addiction it is, you are struggling. Everything that these women or men are struggling with is valid. It doesn't, there are no levels. There is no, your husband's worse than mine or mine's worse than yours. That isn't a thing, you know? it is hard for everyone. Everyone is struggling. And I can't form judgments to their situation because I'm not in their life. I don't know how I would be handling that because you truly don't know unless you're in the same situation. Your spouse or family member could have the same addiction and a very similar story, but it could be completely different because we don't know the things that are being said on a daily basis, their life, their situation, their emotions, their thoughts. Maybe they're struggling with anxiety, depression, maybe they're struggling with other different things, or you have no idea what somebody is going through. And you say that, and you could be forming judgment. Okay. Okay. I was about to go on like this huge ramble again, but I'm going to throw it off. So those are 3 types of judgments in my mind. And then the last one is kind of when you have an opinion, and this is something that I really struggle with as well. When you have an opinion and you're trying to share it with somebody else, and you think that it's being helpful because it's coming from a loving place and because you might understand their situation or relate to their situation, so you're trying to give your opinion and advice to help them, but it comes off as judgment. So a lot of times people do this with mom shaming, and they don't realize that they're doing it. If somebody says like, oh, hey, I'm feeding my baby and they're 2 months old, and you're just like, cringe, like, and it's hard because it's like you feel like you're trying to educate them or help them, which you can do, but the way that you're saying it is coming across as a little bit of judgment. So you kind of have to take that judgment and that bias out to be able to give your opinion or your advice in a nicer way, if that makes sense. Which again, I think that's really hard. It's really easy to do that because you think that you're coming from a loving and kind way. Recently, this is something that we've struggled with on our YouTube channel. I think that I've talked about it before. The decision that I made to get a divorce was not made lightly. I went over it with multiple therapists, counselors, multiple of them. I'm talking marriage therapists, marriage counselors, my own therapist, my own counselor. Cody had his own. We went over it with lots of different professionals, with our church leaders. We went over it with family members. We went over it with ourselves. I sat down, I did pros and cons list. I really sat down and I talked to other people who had been through this. I talked to professionals who have dealt with addiction. I went crazy with my research and trying to make this decision. We have 2 children, and this was extremely hard for me because I wanted to do absolutely everything that I could to keep my family together. This is not something that I wanted at all. Trust me. If I was leading with my emotions, I would have stayed 100%. But my therapist is very confident in the fact that I am at the point where I'm able to form my own opinions and do everything logically without my emotions involved. And that's how I came to the conclusion that I'm at. I understand, like I've said before, if people stay past the point that I stayed. I understand if you get a divorce sooner than the point that I stayed. And I don't think that that is my position to judge you at all. At all. I know people who are way farther, being abused, way farther into being abused, and it's just a really terrible situation who have chosen to stay. And I know people whose addiction maybe hasn't progressed as much as Cody's had, and they chose to leave. And that's, again, not my decision to make. Not trying to mean this in a rude way or a condescending way or in a offended way. I don't know how to word this, but I'm basically just saying I know that a lot of you guys are coming from a good place in your hearts and that you're just trying to share your wonderful experience of sharing your marriage or saving your marriage or leaving sooner and taking things, or some people have said leave him and take all this and blah 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 blah, and that might be your experience and you haven't fully healed from yours. Or some people are saying you should stay anyways, and that might have been your experience and that was wonderful and something beautiful for you. But I'm at the point where I have finally become content in what I'm doing. I understand that it's not going to be easy, but what I went through the past years was a lot harder than this separation has been and the divorce has been so far. And I'm content at where I'm at. We are, like I said, handling this differently than most divorced couples do. We're doing holidays together. We're doing family things together once a month. There's still love there on a friendship level, not on a relationship level. And I don't really have to defend ourselves to you guys, but I just really wanted to talk about judgment and how sometimes that can really hurt others and that can really hinder their growth and that can put them in a place where emotionally they're not able to to handle their emotions or to handle what they're going through or the struggles that they're going through in their lives. And so I kind of wanted to put that out there because I know some people don't do it on purpose. Just like I wasn't doing it on purpose. That you might not even know that you're judging. You might not even know that you're hurting another person by the things that you're saying or the opinions that you're doing. But I just wanted to remind everybody that we don't know what's going on with everyone's everyday lives, whether it's in their marriage and you see somebody who has this picture perfect family, it's, you know, it doesn't work like that, or whether it's somebody who comes into a coffee shop and they're rude, like you don't know what just happened to them that day. And so I just wanted to put a little bit of perspective on that and how we don't truly know what each other are going through, and that we kind of need to take that extra step to being a little bit more cautious of what we say and knowing the way that we're wording things, and that it needs to be coming from a place of love and support and care no matter what we're saying, but also that sometimes we, even if our situations are very similar, we don't understand what the other person is going through.
Hey guys, here in Target. Sparrow, say hi. Mama went to work, so we're just at Target getting a couple things. Right now we got formula, which is what we needed, paper towels, because we also needed those, and what else? What are you making that face for? Alright then. What about you, Bodhi? Bodhi's a little grumpy. So yeah, just picking up a couple things and then we'll go back and get Mama. And maybe we'll get some dinner. Yep.
So that was my first attempt at cutting his hair, guys. Failed miserably.
And then a medium Baja Blast.
Like, it's all choppy.
No
it
ice?
didn't work because he freaked out and like kept hitting my hands. That cut on his eye is not from me though. He ran into the door today. But I'm gonna try it again when I get home, so we'll see.
One more, and then a large watermelon freeze, and that should be it. Thank you.
Spent out an entire hour at the gym on the spin bikes, like sweating, so gross. So I worked this morning, that's why I didn't have very much makeup on when you guys saw me, and then I worked again tonight, but I spent a whole hour on the gym, sweating, and killing myself, and now we're at Taco Bell. Not the best. What are you doing, dude?
Do it again.
Stopped by my friend's house to let in her, take in her mail, and then go home.
Go home.
So the camera is about to die, but I wanted to end out the vlog really quick, and I wanted to talk about something that I didn't talk about in the very beginning. I talked all about different kinds of judgment, and when I was going over some of the clips from this morning, I put them on the computer, and I saw those clips, and I instantly just thought, like, my face looks fat, or without makeup I look hideous, like my skin is awful, and it just makes me look so ugly, and how could anyone want to be around me when I look like that? And sometimes it's not even a depressing thought, sometimes it just pops into my head and I'm like, yep, I'm ugly, and that's just the life that I'm living, and I gotta deal with it, you know, or, oh, hey, ugly, you know, like, sometimes it's not even down about it, it's just like, hey, matter of fact, like, I don't like myself, you know? And I can sit here and I can talk all day about potential things that I might say to hurt somebody else, or judging them on accident, or people saying really awful things to me that hurt my feelings, and the truth is, it's like, no one's ever said anything to me that was worse than what I've said to myself. And I think it's so easy for us to just judge ourselves and say all these awful things about ourselves without taking a second and really think about what we're saying. And this lighting is making me so uncomfortable, like, I'm having those thoughts go through my mind right now, and I'm trying to remind myself as I'm speaking, like, I'm talking about this, so I shouldn't be feeling like this and acting like this. And this video is going to be probably the hardest video that I've ever put up, because I don't like the way that I look in it, I don't like the way that I feel in it, but, you know, it is what it is. I'm not a person who feels like I'm naturally pretty. I'm not a type of person, like, I feel like I have to put effort into how I look, and I look very different on camera or off camera, or with makeup and without makeup, and on a good day or on a bad day. But this is who I am, and the truth is, like, I have to keep reminding myself every day, like, this is how my skin looks, and it's making me really uncomfortable to the point where I don't want to leave my house, or I don't want to see people or go out with my friends or do things, which sounds absolutely ridiculous, it is, but it's something that I've struggled with since I was really young. And the thing is, it's like I have to remind myself that pain, whether it's emotional, physical, or whatever, doesn't last forever. Acne like this doesn't last forever. I'm gonna have a bad, awful, terrible week this week, and next week I might feel like I look really good and my skin's really clear and I look great, or after my dermatologist appointment I might feel really good, you know, and another time's gonna come around where I'm not feeling so good. And that's just how life is. We go through these phases, and this honestly is the most harsh form of judgment, is the judgment that we put upon ourselves, not even on others, but upon ourselves. And that's something that we all, I think, could improve on and work on, is trying to love yourself. And I think if you love yourself first and you truly, honestly love yourself in a healthy way, that it will translate into loving others and not judging others around you. So I think that that's something that we can all work on, and especially me, I need to start just kind of sitting to myself and noticing when I'm saying those harsh things or judging myself or being awful and mean to myself, and work on that as much as I can. So the camera is about to run out of room and it's about to die, so I'm going to end out the vlog, and I've got to take a shower because I sweat so much at the gym. It's just going to cause more acne if I don't hop in the shower right away. So I'm going to go do that. I hope that this vlog, that you guys could hear my message and get it across. I know that it might be distracting with how I look, or, you know, the way that my skin's flaring up, or, you know, the fact that I didn't really put myself together today because I was trying to let it heal and stuff, and I know that that might be a little bit distracting, but I hope that you guys could hear the message that I'm trying to put across, and that you could still get something out of this regardless of what I look like, or, you know, whatever else. I hope that you guys can, if take anything away from this video, just to love yourself and try to work on not judging yourself as harshly as you might be in your past or in your everyday life. Be self-conscious. Man, I'm rambling because I'm trying to like hurry because I'm watching the time. Be conscious of what you're saying to yourself and to others, and treat yourself with love and kindness as you are going to be treating others and the people around you. And I think that will really help us all in life. So I challenge you guys all to do that. And if this video gets up, I'm going to give myself a pat on the back, because I know editing this is going to be really hard for me, which just, I know it sounds absolutely ridiculous. It's just something that I struggle with more than I should, but this video gets up, I'm giving myself a pat on the back. So I hope that you guys enjoyed. We will have another video up within the next few days. Like I said, if you guys have any tips on this, help me out, because I'm trying not to wear any makeup. I'm trying to just really get the sweat off, and treating it with, I'm taking different vitamins. I upped my water intake again. I'm treating my skin really good as far as food and stuff. So I'm trying to do everything that I can think of, but of course I don't know very much about it. So if you have any tips, please leave those down below. And like I said, love yourself, love others. Try to be conscious of what you're saying and what you're thinking towards other people and to yourself. And I hope that you guys all have a beautiful day.